Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. And today in the Bible Bistro, we're going to be looking at Psalm 74 all this week. Part 1, we're going to do the Psalm in two parts, just like we did last time with Psalm 73. This time we're doing Psalm 74. We're going to break it into two parts. This is an important psalm because what we have here in this psalm is a ground level view of the righteous judgment of God. The people of God are being judged, and we're seeing it through their eyes. Now, this psalm does have an introduction. It's called a Maskil of Asaph, or for Asaph, but we're going to translate that of Asaph. And so Maskil is the teaching psalm. So we're going to learn something here. We're going to learn about the righteous judgment of God, but we're also going to learn about the wonderful mercy of God as well. There are some important questions that are asked, and we'll get into all of that as we see this psalm develop a ground level view of the righteous judgment of God, because what we have is a report from the field. You know when you have the reporter standing out in the parking lot and they're telling you what's going on behind them? That's kind of what this psalm is. We have the reporter giving us a first-hand account of what's happening, and we hear his prayer, we hear his complaint, we hear his faith. There's just a whole lot here, so we're going to jump right into it. Let me read for you verses 1, 2, and 3. O God, why hast thou cast us off forever? Why does thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations, even all that the enemy hath done wickedly in the sanctuary. Okay, so you notice that we have two questions that start the psalm off. And as I said, this is a first-hand accounting, and so we would ask the same questions. Why have you cast us off? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Now, God's anger is righteous. It is not happenstance. He didn't just wake up one morning and say, I think I'll be angry today. No, he told the people that this was coming. We have the prophets declaring it all the way up until the time when Nebuchadnezzar came in and did his work. We knew that this was going to happen. They knew that this was going to happen if they were listening. But now, you cry out why, because that's kind of what we do, isn't it? We want to know why God hasn't done a certain thing or acted a certain way or protected us, because, we want that. We want to be protected. We want to be kept. And so we say, why? Why have you done this? But you'll notice also, the language here, why have you cast us off forever? Well, he hasn't done it forever, but you see, that's just how exaggerated the prayer is. Why have you cast us off forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Well, it's not forever, but it does smoke against the sheep of his pasture because they've gone astray. All we like sheep have gone astray, and judgment has come upon them. And they've heard the word of God over and over and over again, and they've not turned back. And so it's time for judgment. And here it comes. And, in verse 3, or rather verse 2, the rod of thy inheritance thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion which thou dwellest, wherein thou dwellest. So we know where this is. We know what's going on. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations. They want God to walk through and see everything. Even all that the enemy hath done wickedly in the sanctuary. So now we're going to focus on the sanctuary because that's what's happened here. In 2 Chronicles chapter 36, we have the story of Nebuchadnezzar coming in and destroying the sanctuary. Also, we see it in 2 Kings chapter 25, and the facts are that he came in, he cut out all the gold and so forth. We'll talk about that later in the week, and stripped it bare. And when the psalmist says, even all that the enemy hath done wickedly, it's because they've done it against the worship house, the place of God. So we'll talk more about that again this week. I hope you'll join me tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to look at verses 4 and 5 here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.